therefore called Volta do Mar, which literally translates as return from the sea, but can also be taken as a turn of the sea. With Volta do Mar, they reverse the course of their ships, using the winds from the point at which the river Volta empties into the Gulf of Guinea is part of the Atlantic Ocean. It is called the estuary of the Volta at DIASPORA. For those of you who have not yet had the pleasure of visiting Adam, it is a small coastal town a little over 100 kilometers away from Accra. I've spent some of my most peaceful moments there. I've enjoyed the tranquil river until where it meets the choppy, aggressive waters of the Atlantic Ocean. For years, I did not know the history of these two bodies of water. When I found out, I was stunned. And every time I think about it, I'm still shaken by the cruel irony that even as our people who were enslaved were being forced to walk through the door of no return, their captors had already ensured their own safe return and even memorialized their method of achieving it by lending its name to a river. The Ghanaian American, the one who has power, he's the one who gets to write the story. So when you study history, you must ask yourself, whose story am I missing? Whose voice was suppressed? So that this voice can come forth. Once you have figured that out, you must find that story too as part of the narrative. By finding and owning the stories of our past, the ones that have been suppressed, we're able to truly know ourselves. And with that knowledge of self comes the power to write ourselves truthfully, respectfully, into not only our future, but the future of all humanity. And that is why we're gathered here today at this Diaspora Summit, to begin the process of reclamation in earnest, to begin the process of writing our own story and moving full steam ahead. That's right. We're reclaiming everything that was ours. Your Excellency for Esozima Yasimbe, Chairman of the Council of the Republic of Togo, Your Royal Majesties, our traditional leaders, the Chairman of the Council of State, our senior government officials, members of the diplomatic corps, our brothers and sisters from our 17th region, the African diaspora, I say a very warm welcome to you. Welcome home. This is your home. The reason I believe it is important that we begin to consciously carry the story of the diaspora as part and parcel of Ghana's story is because that's division. And that's precisely why it's the perfect way to conquer. We have to stop drawing those lines of demarcation that say, I end here and you begin there. I look into the audience and I can see myself in so many of your faces. And I'm sure that I'll be able to see my children in the faces of your children. And so how can I turn my back on the fact that we are undeniably, inextricably part of each other? And yet, We have been divided with artificial borders of colonialism that split ethnic homelands right down the middle, with half of our communities being ruled by one European country and the other half being ruled by another. And with the labeling of our ethnicity in a colony as intellectual and worthy of education, while another ethnicity was said to be inherently martial and thus intellectually inferior. We've been divided by the manufacturing of coups, armed conflicts, anti-poverty programs that somehow never eradicate poverty, by the selective broadcast of stereotypes, a systemic war of images waged against us, images meant to foster fear, whose low cognitive ability makes them incapable of self-determination, and black people in the Americas as lazy, drug-addled, and criminally inclined. And there too is the institutionalization of colorism. The belief that anything black is negative or inferior, and the proximity to whiteness is more desirable. It is reflected in every aspect of our lives. And I say us because colonization did not leave us unscathed, quite the opposite. In English, everything negative and evil is black. In Spanish, la negra means black woman. Tener la negra means to have bad luck or to be jinxed. The once popular French expression that went out of vogue but has recently been making a comeback is travailler comme un nègre. Travailler comme un nègre, which means to work like a slave. And it's often also translated with the word slave being replaced by a more offensive racial slur. But anything in this life, once stripped of its power, will no longer work. And that is true of slurs, it is true of stories, especially ones that are complete fabrications. Let's take the narrative of those who oppressed us and work it. In fact, let's take their entire modus operandi and flip it and reverse it. So I urge you, my brothers and sisters, let's be more intentional about our unity than they were about our division. Your Excellency, goal to achieve. No matter how we've been divided, we've always tried to find our way back to one another. Africans in the diaspora whose forebears were enslaved have kept us in their rhythms. The music they played, the dances, the cadence of their speech, and even the language. The Gula Geechee people of the United States still count using Fulani words instead of numerals. Yoruba language is spoken in Venezuela, in Cuba, in Brazil, Haiti, and Trinidad and Tobago. Likewise, a Creole offspring of Akan is spoken by the Africans, the Maroons in Jamaica and in Suriname. And Africa remains in our food. American gumbo and Brazilian karuru bear a strong resemblance to Ghanaian okra stew. All three use okra, also known as okra, which is native to the African continent, and was transported to the New World on slave ships, as were cowpeas. We call it gobe here in Ghana. For those of you, try and eat gobe before you go back. Another food item that is native to Africa, which would explain why some variations of Hopping John, a dish from the Gula Gichi people, are so reminiscent of the Ghanaian wache. Try to eat wache too before you go. The ways in which Africa has remained at the heart of its diaspora are far-reaching, well beyond food and music. Perhaps the most important way is in the cultural elements that are taught to our children, ensuring the cord that has tethered these diasporan communities to the African continent all these centuries remains unbroken. There are the Kwekwanansi folk tales that so many of us in this room grew up hearing and reading, and that have spread all over the world to places too numerous to mention. Just like the popular children's call and response folk song that I'm sure most of you are familiar with. Cheche Kule, Cheche Kofisa, Kofisa Langa, Kakati Langa, Kum Adere, I didn't hear you go. Cheche Kule, Cheche Kule, Kofisa Langa. Thank you. Ghana's first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, said, and that quote has been shown here, "I'm not African because I was born in Africa, but because Africa was born in me." Though I have no proof, I suspect that this sentiment was heavily influenced by his time in America, where he completed his undergraduate studies at Lincoln University and his graduate studies at the University of Pennsylvania. He was also a frequent visitor to Harlem, and this was in the late 1930s and 1940s, at a time when most Ghanaian intellectuals were completing their higher education in European universities. During his 8 years in the United States, Nkrumah was able to experience at first hand racism and the Jim Crow laws. Nkrumah was already a believer in Pan-Africanism before he went to the United States. He was a huge fan of Marcus Garvey, whose Black Star Line was an attempt to facilitate movement between North America and Africa, particularly Liberia, where free blacks had been emigrating since the 1820s. The Black Star, which is featured prominently on Ghana's flag, has come to be a defining of all African peoples. He wanted the story of the diaspora and the stories of all the other indigenous people who had been colonized on the African continent to be a part of our national story. So much so that at the hour of Ghana's independence, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah famously proclaimed that the independence of Ghana is meaningless unless it is linked up with the total liberation of the African continent. It was a heady and ambitious statement, and the years that followed were equally as heady and ambitious, full of growth, lots of hope. No, it was more than that. It was an intoxicating feeling of endless possibilities. It was a pure, perhaps naive belief that we could attain our own modern-day version of the glory that our forebears like Shaka the Zulu and Mansa Musa had, and that we could build our nation-states to be as exemplary as the Mwene Mutepa Empire, Songhai, Mali, and the Ghana empires that had existed before. And then came the coup d'etats, many inspired by the imperial nations. Not just in Ghana, but in most of the other nations that had newly gained independence. And then came even more coup d'etats, one after the other, following by the imprisonment and exile of our liberation leaders. We now know as Ghanaians, as author Ama Taibu wrote, that there are powerful forces undermining our progress in Africa. We suffered decades of brain drain that emptied a sizable portion of the continent's population, added scores of exiles to the diaspora. And our nations themselves were surviving but barely on the remittances that those individuals sent home. It will surprise you to know, in 1990, the total number of Africans who had migrated voluntarily to the United States eclipsed the total number who had been brought as enslaved people to leaving an utterly devastated continent. When it comes to reparative justice, we ask what is just. We're at a very pivotal place in our journey. There are those who will have us go backward, not just 1 or 2 steps, as if that would not be bad enough. They want us to go all the way back. They want us to develop some sort of amnesia about the blood that was spilled for freedom. We're at a place in our journey where we do not have the luxury of forgetting. When government officials can so easily use the words like garbage and filth to describe our kith and kin, people who look like us, of citizenship that they have earned, we do not have the luxury of forgetting or of either excusing the racist dog whistles or explaining the overtly discriminatory and divisive statements that are made daily to our hearing. This is precisely the time when we must advance and begin the process of reclamation. This is precisely the time when we must speak loudly and clearly, naming what it is we have lost as well as what it is we hope to gain. Her Excellency Mian Amor Motley, Prime Minister of Barbados, a great African sister, said in a lecture at the London School of Economics, the conspiracy of silence has diminished the horror of what our people faced. This year at the UN General Assembly, I served notice against humanity. I know this motion will enjoy the utmost support from the entire African continent and the diaspora. Africa has suffered slavery, colonialism, genocide, and apartheid. We demand acknowledgement of these crimes against humanity. We demand the establishment of legal, institutional, and international mechanisms to advance reparative justice. Reparations must include tangible measures such as debt cancellation, monetary compensation, return of stolen artifacts, institutional reform, and transformative economic redress in the global economic system. Beyond the material loss Holocaust that Africa suffered are also the emotional cost to assess. According to the Oxford Dictionary, epigenetics is the study of changes in organisms that are caused by the modification of gene expression rather than the alteration of the genetic code itself. And studies have shown that trauma can be passed down transgenerationally through epigenetics. And so imagine then the various traumas that the people of African descent have faced. Traumas that are being passed down from one generation onto the other. Traumas from yesteryears coupled with traumas of today and the injustices that we are currently facing. What impact does that have on our health? What impact does that have on the health of our children? And most importantly, how do we heal from that trauma? Ghanaian British actress, writer, Michelle Cole wrote, "We can put fear of the future in front of us to block us, or put it behind us to drive us forward." As we debate all these questions and ideas, bear in mind that the future is upon us and that the future is African. And like I said at the UN, let me say it louder one more time for those in the back. The future is African. We hold in our hands the power to change the circumstances of our past. But we must be more intentional about our unity than those who oppressed us were about our division. And from the looks of this gathering, I can feel it, that we are more united than ever. There is nothing we cannot achieve. I thank you, I wish you fruitful deliberations, and it's my honor and privilege to declare the Diaspora Summit 2025 duly open. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us. President Albert Jumfo, Ghana Journalists Association President, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem of the Republic of Ghana. Ladies and gentlemen, with humility, if you can remain in your positions as we escort His Excellency the President, and of course with the President of the Council of Ministers of Togo for the Simbe. Please remain at your positions as our special guest of honor take leave of us. Lunch is now served. We will reconvene at 2:45 here in the main plenary. At 2:45, our first official session will begin here in the main plenary.
We are back here again to give you highlights on the Diaspora Summit Program 2025, and we have here Mr.
Hi.
Today we want to ask you of how you saw the program. What can you say about the Diaspora Summit?
Actually, I have been here once before, but by then I wasn't officially. But today's own was superb. Seeing the president himself singing Che Kule, Che Che Kule. You know, in Japan, surprisingly, my first time for me to be in Japan, I was in a kids program. When I started teaching them this song, they have it also in Japanese. So today when I was hearing, I started getting good impulse. Yeah, so it's fantastic, really. And the president spoke well, and it wasn't different like the one he spoke at the UN, and you know, everyone was like amazing. You know, we have a father and also a president as well in English, but you know, maybe I might make a mistake because you know, yeah. Che kule, che kule, che kofisa, kofisa langa, lala tulanga, kum adede, right? Kum adede. Yeah, I love it because the president was singing. I thought it's going to be a mistake because you know everyone was singing with him and he was really fantastic. I think the president was a musician before, maybe, or he wasn't. He was a musician.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
So what are your expectations for next year if you seem to find yourself here again?
Thank you so much. My next, I would say, if I'm coming, maybe I have to come with a private jet. Maybe I'll come with you.
Sure. So for those watching us, again, this is Mr. Hassan, the first man to drive a taxi in Japan.
The first black to drive taxi in Japan. And it's really, if you go to Google, you can get me. And also come to Japan, you see signboards wherever you are.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you too.
Thank you.
We are here again with beautiful and great women at the Diaspora Summit 2025. I'd like to know your names. I'm Justina.
I'm Mama One Africa.
Mama One Africa.
I'm Dr. Mama Desta.
I'm Brother Corbina Hamina Ansari. But my Ghana name is Corbina, born on Tuesday. And I remember this great man here. I want y'all to give him his props. He should have been up there with the celebrities. What he is doing is monumental. He's doing what they were talking about there. Bridging us together. And men like
Please, your name.
Rabbi Kohen Alevi.
Please, what do you do?
I'm the executive director of Panafest, and I also represent the Diaspora Coalition in Ghana.
Okay, so please, how did you find the program?
The program was excellent. It's good. Very timely. The president's words were inspiring. All the other representatives that spoke were inspiring. And the African family is together, so can't do anything but celebrate that, promote that, and push it forward. Yes. Absolutely. The president took on a strong position before getting here. He backed it up and certified it today. He brought in UNESCO. He brought in other African national leaders, and the African family came out to support it. So we couldn't expect more than that. Now it's time for action, and that work is on us.
Exactly. Thank you so much.
Let me say this about Rabbi Kohen.
Right.
Rabbi Kohen brought us, 16 of us, in 1987 to Ghana. For the first time, yes. I've been here now for the past 35 years, and he's my neighbor.
That's great. So what are your expectations for the next Diaspora Summit? Maybe 2026?
My expectation is for the work that we have to do in between the summits and to come here and to testify on the work that we've done and the successes that we've chalked up, and to add to the numbers that we see here today, and to report from every region that we see the diaspora represented in, that we know the work that they have done, that we receive reparations. That's what we expect to see in the next summit, the report on our action.
Okay, thank you. Mama, what do you expect next year?
this man is
Action.
what
What we want to see is all of those words put into action. No more singing and dancing and talking. We now have to act. Because if we don't act, we will be in the same position 100 years from now, talking the same talk. So we have to be together. We have to be action-oriented. And if it's not for action, we need to shut it down.
Thank you very much. We're grateful.
You're welcome. So it's very important that African people see this as their struggle. It's not just a struggle for the leadership.
No.
And our protection of our leaders who take a step out front is of vital importance. Because as the president said, many leaders have been sent to us. We have not been able to protect them because we have not taken the seriousness our unity as they have done in our division. So we must do the work as African people, as the body of people, to protect our leaders and to protect our interests in our future.
Yeah. To protect our our leaders?
Yes, to protect our leaders. It was President Mahama that gave us our citizenship in 2016. I can never ever do more than to support him.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Here we have again another great man. I am Justina. How about you?
I'm Stephen Kojosaki, representing the people of FANA, Federation of the Aboriginal Nations of America, Australian Commerce Ambassador to Africa, with multiple roles.
Okay, so how did you see the program? Did you get your expectations exactly how you wanted?
I can say authoritatively that it is beyond my expectation. This is so tremendous and it is insightful, and you can see the enthusiasm, the euphoria, and the happiness, the ecstatic mood that we are experiencing now is so historic. And we see our brothers and sisters from the 6th region, which now we call them in Ghana the 17th region, coming together, working side by side with us to be able to restore the glory of our ancient forebears that has eluded us forever, doing amazingly great. And I'm so happy that I'm part of this historic day that we are which is happening in Accra, Ghana,
The summit.
So what I want to share with the general populace is that we have established that our brothers and sisters, which many years were taken to slavery, they have been able to establish that they should all come back. We are welcoming them. Let us all continue to work together to be able to advance the economic rights, emancipations that we are seeking for. Africa is about 1.5 billion, coupled with the diaspora community totaling about 2 billion people. And if we able to integrate very well, we will be able to take a commanding height of our destiny, just as our ancient forebears like Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, the pioneer of Pan-Africanism, said that Africa is capable of managing its own affairs. And today we are living his dream, and I'm happy that we are part of this history. And it is possible that through our speakers, His Excellency the President, the Foreign Affairs Minister, and all the speakers from even the civil rights movement have drummed home that they cannot take our spirits away. They can break our flesh and body, but our spirits can never be taken away. We are reconnecting back again, and our brothers and sisters from the diaspora is our root, and any tree which does not have a root cannot stand. And today it has been reaffirmed that we are all one, and we are going to reclaim our glory back again. Africa, viva Africa, here we come. We are one people with common destiny, and we are reclaiming our glory again.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate you for having me.
I appreciate you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today forgive those who sin against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Fear not, for I am with too. Meji ba 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 ba. Yeah, many egg Benny Janoni, my sumo papa ke ami. Me doctor beke, ti sofa fungi ploma ami. Calling Janoni, my sumo papa ke ami. Me doctor beke, ti sofa fungi ploma ami. Calling children, adolescents, and young adults. My message for today: I love you, value yourself. It's hard, I know your pain. Take the safe flesh, live drug free. No lung cancer, no brain damage. Please listen, you are loved. Say it with me. I will keep my body, mind, and spirit clean. I will save my soul. Stay away, value excellence in myself. I will save my soul. I have a serious trouble. Watch out for serious trouble incoming. Watch out for serious trouble. Watch out for serious trouble incoming. Watch out for serious trouble. I don't hear you say it again. Parents pledge for your child. Safe campaign is calling for your attention. Word, Sugar Fresh production. Dr. Abe care. Live to be 100 years old. Don't die young from drugs and STI. God and rise. Teach you all adolescents. You all need to be strong. I will save my soul. Stay away, value excellence in myself. I will save my soul. I will save my soul. Watch out for serious trouble incoming. Watch out for serious trouble. Watch out for serious trouble incoming. Watch out for serious trouble. Meji da pa pa pa.